This week's episode is sponsored by Goldove's new science fiction horror film, Lumina, only in theaters Friday, July 12th. If you love government conspiracies, space, aliens, and some blood mixed with comedy, this is the movie many critics claim is the new cult classic on the block. There's no exaggeration there, because it really punches way above its weight. A terrifying sci-fi thrill ride, Lumina follows four friends desperately searching for their abductee friend in a dumb, deep underground military base. Whether they find their friend or not, what they find in the desert of the U.S. to the sands of the Sahara will change their lives forever. In his feature directing debut, Gino McCoy leads a cast that includes the legendary Eric Roberts, as well as up-and-coming talent Rupert Lazarus, Eleanor Williams, Andrea Tivadar, Sydney Nicole Rogers, Ken Lawson, and Emily Hill. Don't miss Lumina, only in theaters Friday, July 12th.
Hello everyone! The clip you're about to hear is from one of our exclusive Patreon episodes on a recent horror release, and just like all of our other episodes, it might include major spoilers for said horror release, so don't listen to it if you haven't already seen it. You've officially been warned. And if you'd like to hear the full episode, just head on over to patreon.com/horrorqueers and subscribe today. Without further ado, here is your exclusive Patreon clip. We're also leaving out one important kind of plot point, I guess, is that the Tony character, the Russell Crowe's character, is implied to have been sexually abused by a priest when he was in school, which is why he is no longer a practicing Catholic, and also seemingly why he is a drug addict and alcoholic.
Yes. So this is where my confusion starts to come in. So yes, after this Adrian Pasdar character is killed, this is the opportunity for Tony to step into the role, right? And he's been off the scene for a little while because of his addiction issues. As you mentioned, we learn when Lee shows up on his doorstep that he has been in rehab. They haven't been very close in a while since her mom died.
Well, and she's been kicked out of school for a reason we'll find out later. So she is now a production assistant on this film. So cool. Again, all good setup. I think it's great. Even this reveal about the sexual molestation, I was kind of like, okay, like, let's see how we wade these waters. But that's, again, a really interesting piece of backstory, I think, for this character.
Yeah, and really our introduction to him, apart from the sobriety and addiction recovery stuff, is him in voiceover. As he's preparing to read for the role, he goes to confession for the first time in 40 years. So we know he has a fraught relationship with the church. When he's introduced to Father Connor, who is played by gay actor David Hyde Pierce.
Yeah. You
know, he has a very visceral reaction. He doesn't want to be around this guy at the cast party. So it's very clear that Tony, even though he's taking this role because professionally it makes sense for him, he is uncomfortable with the material. And as it progresses, you know, Father Connor starts to counsel Lee about how to basically how to make amends with your father, how to forgive him. But we can see that Tony has a lot of unprocessed trauma, and we're seeing these little flashbacks, right, of him as this younger boy. He's about 12, we learn, and he was an altar boy. And this is something that the director, Peter, will use against him when he's trying to incite a more fiery, passionate performance on set. But it all feels like it's leading up to this big revelation of the reason that Tony is so fucked up is because he was molested. And then I feel like the movie either walks it back or confuses it for some kind of demon possession thing.
Okay, now I'm just speculating here. Now I'm wondering, what if the sexual molestation was a more like concrete part of this plot and it was delved more heavily into the finale, but maybe some suit was like, this is uncomfortable.
We don't want to do priest-diddling boys.
Yes, we don't want to do that. So you need to redo the entire ending and make it a possession thing, and bam. Because I will tell you, the Father Connor character, I actually really liked. I think I like seeing David Hyde Pierce in horror, like, good for him. But then what they do with him in the third act, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what?
Well, it's just The Exorcist.
Yes!
It's just him taking on, what is it, the Father Merrin role and being like, take me, and then he dies for it.
That's exactly it. But it's like this, oh, God, it's so stupid.
It's very uninspired, and it feels like we're just trying to do The Exorcist all over again, but not as good.
No, uninspired is the best way to put it. Because again, I think the premise of this movie is very inspired. The execution of what we have here feels incredibly uninspired.